Hello, everyone. This is the Troublesome Trio. We wanted to introduce ourselves. As some of you may know, we're in the Magi Nation Discord. Some known, some not very well known. So I'll go ahead and start off. As you guys are aware, I am Yellowspacemarine, a big time advocate of the game. A little about me, I've been a Magi Nation fan since the whole time. Whether I was in the background or not, I understand the game very well as far as the cards go, lore. I'm one of those hardcore Magi Nation fans. Worked really hard for us to collect our collection, and I'm very well versed on games and have a pretty good grasp or understanding of what players would want. Next, we'll go ahead and introduce Grimnack. Tell us a little about you.
Well, hello. I am, as he said, Grimnack. I am Yellowspace little brother. I have been playing the game since we discovered it back in 2000. I have since then branched off and learned other games. I play tabletop RPGs. Like most people, I play video games. And I'm a board gamer. You name it, I've probably either played it or heard of it. I'm mostly a lurker in the Magi Nation Discord because, well, I have other things that I do also in Discord, so that pretty much covers me.
All right, and last of the trio, I want to introduce the Fez.
The Fez is the reason why there is trouble in the Troublesome trio. And unlike these two knuckleheads, that are my brothers from another mother, I do not often play games. I do not often participate in the Discord. I don't have time for it. I also have ADHD, so if a game can get my ass in a chair and get me to play it, it's good and it's fun. And this game was so good and so fun that I was looking forward to introducing at least one of my sons to it and being able to play with him. And I have. And he's loved it. And I'm telling you right now, I'm pissed. I am pissed, and I feel like I have been robbed. I feel like I have been slighted. And in fact, it's not just feelings. These are facts, and we're here with the receipt.
So you're probably asking everyone, why are we doing this? Well, we wanted to go over factual things. We don't want to go over any sort of rumors. We really want to discuss the first major issue that brought us to this point was our card issue. We wanted to discuss some of our issues with the Kickstarter, and we wanted to go ahead and discuss some of the other issues going on with the game. But, the real reason we're doing this is because we can. So prepare to listen to us ramble on for the next several minutes or hour or whatever. I will include timestamps if you just want to hear certain sections because, unfortunately, the main issue that started all of this is a bit long, complicated. There will be screenshots that will be included from conversations that I had. And fortunately, I'm not under any sort of NDA, nor are these other guys. So, we're going to go ahead and discuss it because we feel like we weren't done wrong. We paid for a product and, well, we learned of many complications throughout this whole process. So, again, I won't be reading any screenshots. Pause it as you go. And if you want to go to any other topics, just read the description. We'll go ahead and start with our main problem, our created card issue. Last year, there was a public announcement that the rights were somehow secured to be able to do the card game. And it was announced by Artemiles. And the Magi Nation Discord went through a lot of excitement. A lot of things were happening. They were going to get things in line. They were going to start a Kickstarter. They were going to come back with Trader's Reach. And I can speak for these two other guys, and they can chime in. We've drilled over those cards for years.
No kidding.
Always felt like it wouldn't be complete until we had them.
Trader's Reach was the, hey guys, look, it's coming. Oh wait, no, it's not. Disappointment. It was that cliffhanger that you get at the end of a book when it's a series and the next one's not out yet.
Except this wasn't a good cliffhanger.
No, it
I
wasn't.
love a good, juicy cliffhanger, but this was not it.
No. So the Kickstarter finally got announced, and we started going through the pledge tiers. I noticed that there was the option for a create a card, and there were multiple created cards: spell, creature, relic. And I got a wild bug up my head, and I thought, man, we could afford a spell. So I got with these two clowns. We really thought about it. And we decided, let's go for it. So we started to come up with this beautiful spell. It was for our friends. Because you know what? We've been friends for years, long before the game. I even made it to where, like, you know what? I view this Kickstarter as our friends. Even these other guys, Grimnack, he lurks, he kind of views news here and there. Fez not so active. But we came to the conclusion we wanted something just for the community and everybody, a universal spell for everyone. We took a lot of time and we came up with this spell effect. And we even came up with art. We fought kind of over the idea. It didn't take us long to really tackle it down, but we kind of thought, hey, let's do something that would be our style, We're
Yeah,
in
we
this,
want something memorable.
yeah, like we're in this together.
I
And
mean, that's the only reason the spell was even going to exist, was because we pooled our funds.
yeah, we were in this together. There's flavor text, but I left that for these two to decide. So there's a tentative flavor text on the card. All I asked was nothing pony. Dear God, don't put nothing pony.
I very much almost did, just to be mean. My roommate's a brony, so it was real easy to get pony quotes.
Should have done it in spite of Yellowspacemarine here.
So we get to the point where there was a lot of talk on the Discord and how they have it all set up. 2i, which is the company that created Magi Nation, they had the rights. There's a right issue. We're not going to go into detail with that. Artemiles, who was the one who was able to acquire the rights and was the one who was heading the Kickstarter project, he was to coordinate with Duelworks, which was a group of fans from the Magi Nation Discord who was able to get together and coordinate with Artemiles to help bring this game back, help with getting the cards together, if they're creating new cards, managing the game going forward, managing the lore, and so forth. So it's really a fan sort of thing. So as you can understand, there's three of them. But really, they would work through Artemiles through the Kickstarter. Artemiles has got a contract where he was able to release Trader's Reach, and depending on how that went, possibly more. Again, I'm not going to go into detail with that. When he stated the tiers, he made mention that if you had existing art already commissioned by an official artist from Imagination's past, you could see about using that art, and if it was approved, you can knock off $300. So, hey, we were going to save some money. I mean, we had art. We had just done art the year before. Adam Kluerman did sketch line work for us, just a basic sketch, and Chana Goodman did the full line work, did the coloring. We paid her to do that. I have to do a few quick edit notes. So the first note is that I or my friends say through the video, Chana Goodman, but through a mutual friend of ours, learned that her actual name and pronunciation is Hannah Goodman. Sorry about that. Well, after going through the process of we had to get it approved with the art director or the one who was managing the art, Vector Chorus, he said we had to check to see if we got approval if we could knock off the $300 off of the commission. Unfortunately, through some complications, it wasn't approved and wouldn't look good anyway on a spell tier. So after talking with these two guys, we decided let's just go for it. Let's just get a whole new art. It looked cool.
Yeah, after we went through and discussed potential art ideas for like 3 hours.
Well, I kind of made the comment, I like, we get to pick our artist because that was one of the conditions. With the coordination of Duelworks, we get to pick our artist, we get to pick the spell effect, which kind of we've already had in place, and they would assist us with create a card process. So these guys, they thought about it. We kind of mold some artists back and forth, and I said, well, why don't we just ask Chana Goodman, who did the line work and the coloring, to just do our art? Because then we'll have something consistent. I'd spoke with her before through text and email, and it was just an easy process. She, what do you want, and so forth. And Adam was really good at getting us the ball rolling, but she got it colored. We were fantastic, and we just decided, you know what, let's pick her. So these two guys agreed. It was agreed upon decision.
Yeah, that's pretty much unanimous right away.
I liked the idea of the art being consistent between the Magi card we had done and the spell that was supposed to be connected to said Magi, which is the inspiration for the spell we chose.
And we really didn't have anything like lined up as far as the Magi, because we always thought of ourselves, if we ever got in the game or even just had art, like we were just gonna be background characters, because there's lots of characters and backgrounds of movies and stuff. And we just never thought of ourselves important. We just wanted to be plain old goofy citizens.
Just a part of that world.
That's all we wanted. So we contacted her on March the 10th after we'd secured the funds and agreed. And I sent a message to her and let her know, hey, if you would be willing to do our art. And she agreed. So after that, I contacted Vector Chorus and let him know that we've paid for the pledge and that we were just going to have her do new art. The effect is okayed. We're good to go.
The effect is okay pending playtesting.
Pending playtesting, absolutely.
It's like to think that, we're going to be immortalized in a game that we had so much fun playing together. And that right there was super exciting.
Official art. Official card representing the three idiots.
Yeah, and it's a card that, again, is for everybody, because, the card would be included on every person that got a universal deck. So even if a region didn't get a card, they would at least have something, a created card they could play in their deck if they wanted to. So now we're at the part where things start getting interesting. The Kickstarter ends, and then the backer kit comes out, and the survey comes out. We fill it out. There's nothing on there, or form or anything about the card, which I thought odd. I thought at this stage, are they gonna do like send everybody a form that you need to fill out? Like, okay, state your name, username, what your pledge was, who's your artist, description of your art, do a description of your card, do a description of your region, and then obviously someone coordinate it. No, there was none of that.
For the sake of simplicity, the backer kit seems fine. The issue that I have is once you submitted the backer kit, that there was no flag to have somebody running the backer kit reach out to you and go, okay, we need to collect the details for your card.
And I know they're volunteers. I know DualWorks might have been doing a lot of things, but I would have thought that would have just been an easy slam dunk. You got what? Let's just say there were 10 created cards. It's 10 people that just need to coordinate with and have a form.
Having a liaison would have been a great idea, to be able to just reach out to these folks, get all the details, and be able to take care of that as simply as possible. Looking back on it now, we're putting all this confidence in the people who have, organized this effort, and they've really let us down from the very beginning.
The other thing that gets me is there wasn't even an announcement after everything was finalized. Hey, we've got like one spell, one creature, one, whatever to look forward to as an announcement on the Kickstarter.
It has had a few updates. I will say it has, but there was an update only through the Discord. And if you're not on the Discord 24/7, if you're not in there just constantly checking all there, and you know what channels are what, you're going to miss it, because there was a post. For example, there was a relic. The relic failed to pay. I think there were 5 or 6 creatures and like 3 spells. That's it. And the regions were given out, and we were the only universal card, because there was an Ardell creature, 2 Room creatures, and then
that's an announcement to Discord.
Yeah, and
I'm talking about there should have been an announcement on
the Kickstarter,
the actual Kickstarter. Yeah,
absolutely, because number one, like you said, people would know what the cards are, and so what if they want to purchase an Ardell deck to get 2 of the promos? That wasn't something that was publicly announced. You had to be in the Discord just to catch that. So now we're at the next stage where Holmberg is made art director of DualWorks, and then finally, after several weeks, someone goes into Discord and asks about the promos, because they want to know, how do we get promos? How does it work? So Artemis goes and explains, everything to the person. This is how you purchase these separate ones, and then this is how you get the created card ones if you have the deck, and that they're working on them. Well, again, I'm in the Discord all the time. I'm the 3rd most active person in there. Now, if that's changed within the last few months, I don't know. But last checked, I was still 3rd, because I've been very active and very communicative. And I never wanted to be a mod. I wanted to be the voice of the community or just the community members. If there was a problem, I wanted to try and advocate or be heard. But I haven't heard anything at all. No one's reached out. No one, nothing. So Artemis says he'll have Holmberg contact me. So Holmberg contacts me, and he already has a piece of art he started working. Nothing of what we wanted. It's like,
The red flag.
yeah, like hold on. First issue. How you start an art when we have, you have no idea what we want. A good
Yeah,
artist
exactly.
will ask you, hey, you put this money for this art. What do you want? Grimneck can tell you. How would an artist go about it?
I'm not a great artist. I do it for fun, if anything else. But if you're doing something for somebody else, you want to know what they want, even if you can't reproduce exactly, because that is almost impossible. You want to make sure you're at least going in the direction they want in terms of the art. If I remember correctly, the initial art he talked about was like somebody injured on a battlefield, and it's like that, but that's not the direction we were going for that. We were going very anime style, like friendship is power type of thing,
Yeah, that was the whole point. It was like a meme card, like how anime characters they get stronger because of their friends. We're my friends.
A meme of a meme.
Yo, we memed the card out, man. It was a lot of thought put into
Yeah.
it.
When you came out and told that there was already, preliminary work done, and it was just, hey, I'm taking care of your card, and there's been no discussion at all about what direction we want to go in, what we're looking to try and create. I'm just like, wait a minute. That immediately told me that something's up here. Something is very wrong. We are not getting what we were being offered as a part of being, this Kickstarter and reaching that particular goal for it.
It's not a create a card anymore if somebody else is picking stuff for us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I'll bring up because it seemed like there were a few people that weren't sure what they wanted to do, and kind of Duelworks is like, oh, let's well, how about this or this, and they kind of did it for them. Hey, if you putting this kind of money down, you get what you want. You want to do something.
Yeah.
I want this art. I want this, and that's part of the process because you know what, this is a big investment. You're here not only for the card, but to show the support for the game and how much of a supporter I am to get this part. So
my thing, man, it's so insulting because it's like, hey, you just try to just give us whatever it is that you thought up of at that moment, creatively, as this is what you're going to get. And I'm wondering how many people would have been too bashful to speak up and say, hey, hold up a minute, and they just take whatever it is that they get. Or maybe they hadn't really thought up of their idea ahead of time. And now they're thinking, oh, well, I guess it wasn't, maybe I misunderstood it. And they're just going to take whatever it is that was given to them.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of the liaison should have been, to sit there and just walk through it or and so forth. After having the discussion with Holmberg, I let him know that this was the idea that we had, and I presented him with some of the art ideas, and I thought the coolest one that we kind of agreed on was this top-down view, and the whole idea of the card, so he knew what it was because I think, well, he's the art director. I want to make sure that he understands what's going on because my assumption during the conversation was he's going to relay this information to Channing Goodman, and I made it early in the conversation that like, hey, we thought Channing was going to do it because she had done everything. And he even responded him like, yeah, she's around. I know she'd like to work on it. So I'm assuming that, okay, we're he understands that we want her to do it. But later, after more discussion and, what was going on with our card, what we wanted to do, and well, he's going to do the sketch today and give us updates. But I'm like, well, wait, hold on now. We kind of picked her to do it. We had already committed to her, and this was 2 months prior that we committed to it. So I'm a little confused. He's saying that, oh, I'm going to do all the Kickstarter cards. Well, that wasn't it. I don't know what changed. There was no actual information on that. It's like, well, that's not cool. We did our due diligence. We got our artist picked. It was confirmed. With him being art director, I don't know if he knew. So I made sure I had a screenshot like, hey, we kind of picked her.
Yeah, especially with artists, a lot of them are commission based. So that's how they get paid. So we've basically reached out to her and go, hey, we have a job for you. We're willing to pay you. Please do this thing for us. And she said, yes.
Yeah, there's no kind of, it was very much, a direct selection.
So based on the conversation, like he said, he's going to do the whole thing, and I'm like, well, hold on here. Now, wait a minute. This kind of changes the plan because we promised a commission to somebody. We agreed that we would follow up once we knew more what was going on, and then we could have a real conversation on what was going on and so forth. And I asked Holmberg, I'm like, well, can I ask you to hold off on the art for a moment? I have to talk with you two. And I know an artist's time is money. And if he starts sketching it, well, I don't want to be out like, well, I already started. And, I give these two guys a heads up. Hey, this is what's going on. And, they were like, well, let's think for a little bit and then we'll respond. Well, we didn't have much time to think because the next morning I wake up and there's our art. So I got a little upset. Like, well, I asked him to hold off. So
It's not a bad piece of art, but it's also like, we asked you not to do this. You could have moved on to a different card for now.
We're clearly not being listened to at this point. That's what pisses me off. It's like you're just completely disregarding us at this moment. We've asked you to hold off. We're trying to explain to you, hey, this isn't what was promised to us. You're not taking the time to listen.
what we were thinking was like, well, maybe we should talk to Artie and just make sure, like, hey, what's going on? Because that was something that was discussed, and it was kind of late when we had the discussion because I know Grimnack here works middle of the night.
Yeah, such is the curse of working overnights.
So it takes some time for us to get a resolution. And, he came up with the idea, hey, let's talk to Artemides before we do anything. But I wake up and I see this, both his message and this. So after, seeing this, I get with these two guys immediately. Hey, he did the sketch. And we all come to the same conclusion. It was stealing. Felt like it was stealing.
Stealing a commission from somebody we promised it to. Those were my exact words.
Here's where things get fun. These two both agree with me that we should talk with Shanna Goodman. Well, I was like a little opposed to it because I don't know, man. If we talk to her, she might not like it as far as, she's going to lose out on her commission and she might even just back out of the whole thing, and which is not cool, because anybody would get upset. But ultimately, I agreed with them. Maybe we should talk with her. Maybe we should make sure that she's on board. We could easily come back to DualWorks and to Artemides like, hey, thanks. We didn't know the change of Holmberg. We really want Shanna Goodman to do it. Can we make sure she's involved? So I contacted her and I told her like, hey, the Kickstarter, they're working on the cards, and apparently Holmberg is doing them all. And I don't know what's going on. I'm confused as she is. And, I don't know if he's going to split the commission with you or what, but we really want you to do our card. I don't know if Holmberg was going to do line work and you're going to color it. Well, she gets to the point where she's like, well, if he draws it, I'm not going to change his art. I'm just going to color it. And that's where I go, it still doesn't seem right. It still doesn't seem fair. We want you, we really want you to just do the whole card. It doesn't seem like they're really having you do anything. It's like, I could tell from the Discord that, everything's Holmberg this at this point, and, some of these other new artists that have come in, but I'm not seeing anything Shanna Goodman coming up. It's at that point, I tell these guys, we opened Pandora's box is the easiest way to describe it. Edit note. So possibly other issues and drama that was going on at the time that have caused the rift, why she wasn't getting work. Nobody was sure. She wasn't sure. We weren't sure. So we're just going to continue on with the video. We learn there was some alleged old office drama back from the 2i days been brought back to the project. Shanna wanted to move past it. She wanted to make the game. It's 20 years. If anybody's holding any sort of grudge, let's just do it for the game. She wants the game to be a success. We have a second chance. Let's do it. Not everybody was on that same page. So ultimately, she decided to back out because she didn't want to cause a rift or cause a problem for the game. And I really commend her for, honestly, that move. Was I happy about it? No. Were we happy about it? No, because now the one thing we wanted, we were looking forward to, it was gone. It didn't feel the same. Now this felt like a whole community learning that there was this. We don't know what the issue was. We don't know what specifically the drama was. It's just that it still came and not everybody was willing to move past it. Even though she's willing to move past it, not everybody was.
This commission was defiled.
Yeah, like
Man, dude, I was so pissed when you told me. I'm like, we've got issues now where we're being disregarded. That the offer that we thought that we had earned was not being honored. Now, practically theft is being committed here. Art that has nothing to do with our vision for this card is being produced, and that all that's bad. And then on top of that, apparently some old drama from when I was in middle school. I'm thinking, oh, my goodness, I was literally a child back then. So these are what I'm assuming are adults, that are still carrying this grudge from 2 decades ago. I had it at that point, man. I was so freaking angry, and even thinking about it now, it pisses me off. It just kept snowballing into a situation that did not need to be what it became. And now here we are having to voice our complaints and voice our displeasure with all of this because good decisions, good planning, none of that was made whatsoever.
I mean, this whole issue with the creative card was my first step in going, you know what? We've put X amount of dollars into this project. I'm going to consider this a failed investment. I don't care if I don't get a return on this money anymore. I'm willing to wash my hands of it.
I've been there so many times as well. And, if it wasn't for Space Marine, we would have just said, whatever. You know what? They can just take that card. They can take this whole project and just stick it straight up their ass at this point.
I have dealt with many, many Kickstarters of all kinds. In fact, my very first Kickstarter was an early project in Kickstarter's life, was to bring back Reading Rainbow for schools. That was the very first Kickstarter I ever participated in. And this is early in Kickstarter, before it was popular, before there was a lot of here's what you do so your Kickstarter succeeds. I didn't get a lot of updates from that particular project, but I got more updates from that project than we've seen so far from the Kickstarter for this. And I spent way more money for this. I spent $50 for Reading Rainbow. I got 3 updates over the course of a year, and I got the stuff I Kickstarted extra for. 1 year for a student to have access to the website, because they were supposed to be doing a website service. I don't know if it actually went through or not, but I also got a tote bag and a magnet. And after a year, I got the tote bag and the magnet. 3 updates. I don't know what happened after that, but that was still more communication in the early life of Kickstarter than we've gotten for this. All the communication we've gotten for this is just ugh.
I'm not going to go into the amount that we put in because the 3 of us put a significant amount, but I will say this. We purchased 68 decks along with the creative card, along with multiple promos. And when I mean multiple promos, it was there, including a playmat. There was more that I wanted to do and donate and get from this project, even though things were a bit expensive. But why at that point? Why am I going to support this now? I'm rather saddened, really. After talking with these 2 guys on what happened and conversation with Jana, honestly, I will admit I was in tears. I was not happy at all. This was not what I expected for the project to be at this point. It felt
He
wrong.
stopped me from actually going into the Discord and basically telling off everybody who had anything to do with this project for being the worst.
And
because when I found out he was legitimately crying over it, I was like, oh no, this is actually going to hit part of me that goes, you know what? It's no longer apathy time. It is now anger time.
I actually held off the
Yeah.
Fez 904 2 multiple times because if you guys don't
I was
know,
just ready to go in there because I don't give a shit. I was like, they can bring down the band hammer on me. I'm not losing any sleep over it. I'm angry because we're getting screwed. To know that my friend is over there, upset about this and putting in all this work, all this effort on my behalf, the least that I can freaking do is go tell them that they all suck.
and the other thing too is it's our artist. She
Exactly.
was there from the beginning. She was excited for the project. Two of the 3 cards has her name on it. One of the reasons why
Feeling
2i was
the
willing to do
joy from
this.
her. Yeah, they're now stealing the joy from her too.
So after this discussion with these guys, and conversation I had with her, ultimately, after holding these clowns off, I decide to leave the Discord with everything that went down. I think my leaving, I had a feeling would spark some conversation because I'm a very big advocate in that Discord.
Dude, you were so active in there. Like every day that I would see notifications about you posting all sorts of goofy crap in there about the chicken cards.
Man, I remember you were compiling custom cards. Like, hey, these are cards that we might like to go to DuelWorks and TUI and go, hey, can we get these made into real cards because they're really cool,
They're
or
free.
can we get them play tested? Right. These
Like,
are all player like creations. I don't know if they picked it back up because I haven't looked in weeks. But the day you left, that process stopped
Yeah,
wholesale.
I pirated that entire channel, and I know two of the guys contacted me and said, well, they kind of made a few things, but after that, it was just they just waited for me to come back if I was going to come back. But I wasn't going to come back until we supported Shannon Goodman, and we did not like her treatment, the way she was being treated, and this was our protest because it's not right what's going on, what we knew at the time. And honestly, it seemed like they allegedly shadow banned her from the project. There was no public message in the Discord, that she's no longer with them, and it's almost like they left her in like a limbo. Things started getting complicated at that point.
unnecessarily complicated.
So I had gotten reached out to multiple people. What happened? What happened? At the time I wasn't really ready to disclose what was going on because, well, I'm upset. I'm mad. These two guys are mad. We need some time to think about what's going on. Finally, I get in contact with Zukre Amsuna, who is a member of DuelWorks. He's not a voting member. He's just someone who will help with relations and so forth. And I finally tell him, hey, this is what happened. I didn't tell everybody what was going on. A lot of this was private business, and I didn't want to negatively impact the project because you guys need to fix our card art and you need to fix relations with your artist because she's an original artist. Hey, this needs to be for everyone. So after almost 2 months, finally get contacted from him after he's been trying to trying to figure out how to get everybody happy, how to get her involved with the project again, find some sort of way where, there's a working relationship with everybody, our whole art team. Well, he comes back and he says, hey, we got a way we think we can get it worked out. We're thinking about having a liaison mediary for Chana so she can work on cards, get commissions, and get input from Matt so that they don't have to really directly communicate with each other. So another quick edit note: after reviewing our video, we wanted to make mention or expand on our concerns with the intermediary or the liaison that was suggested. Concern is the difficulty of communication with a piece of art between anyone involved in the process, with having corrections or even fails. And if there are any underlying or existing issues besides the art, then it could make it difficult for a working relationship between everybody in the entire process. Hey, if she's okay with it and she's willing to work through it, why not? Hey, do you still want your card? He asks. Say absolutely, because do you guys want your card?
We paid for it, so yes.
Hell yeah, I want that card.
There's no question. We want our card. So they bring me into this chat with Sun Machine, who is apparently someone with some voting power with DuelWorks, one of the leaders at DuelWorks. Well, he offered Chana, he reached out to her and, he asked me what the card was about. And they had an offer for her. They were going to negotiate with her. He was going to be her intermediary. They were chatting back and forth. She was going to think about it. Okay, cool. After a couple of days, he's updating me, no update, no update. I'm like, dude, you don't need to update me. Give me the response when it's done, because it's kind of annoying. Like, you're hoping like she's happy and everybody's happy and the project can move forward happy. Sunshines and rainbows all over again. But later I find out they only offered her our card. They didn't offer really any other art. Sun Machine claims they didn't have any other art at the time. They only had ours, which is not true. they do have some art that they owe her to do. And well, if she would have agreed to the terms, she'd probably be back in the same boat because they only offered her our card. Ultimately, I respond. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a little confused. I'm looking over what Zukri told me. Hey, she'll get commissions. I knew there was stuff that's still owed to her from the Kickstarter, so I'm a little confused. I'm like, what's going on? And he's confused too. So I hate text sometimes. It's better to have a verbal conversation so you can express a little more and give your information a little better because things can get lost in translation of text. She wants to be part of the community. She wants to be part of this project. She wants to be able to help this grow and just told them I will make concessions to make this happen. I want this. I want to be part of this. You know? And well, after the conversation and they're like, well, she's not talking to us now.
I wouldn't either if I had to deal with all that crap,
They
man.
asked me to reach out to her and I'm like, well, you know what? No, I'm not going to reach out to her. They need to handle this.
Exactly, it's their issue. You
It's
guys are the ones that are failing to come to terms, not
exactly.
us.
Yeah, we're not gonna, step in and do the dirty work. It's, we want our card. You guys have to figure this out. If you guys can't work and negotiate a deal or something where she's happy to work, well, it does us no good. I hadn't talked to her in a couple months because some people think, well, oh, she influenced us. No, she didn't influence us. She is the one like, this and this is mastermind wheel. No, dude, we left on our own accord. I left on my own
Yeah,
accord.
yeah. You left, and I mean, I didn't even know that you were going to. Like, I was shocked. I was like, what? I was
Yeah,
like, damn, dude. I knew you were upset when you did that because you were in there every day.
yeah.
Every day you were in there.
And I'm gonna go back in there because it's like, hey, I could go in there and cause a ruckus, at the time, but now it's like, well, obviously we're at this point, nothing's getting done. We don't want to impede anything she's trying to do because we understand where she's coming from. Again, like I said, she wants to be part of this. Basically, I said, well, I'm not going to because I knew you guys were going to say no. I didn't even have to check with you two. I knew you guys were going to just back me on this because we were all in the same accord. Everything we talked about basically was the same. And I kind of told some machine like, you guys have no idea how to crew this ship. There's nothing but confidence just basically being lost. And I mean, there are old games that are coming back. Warlords Overpower. I'm seeing stuff from that all the time, on Facebook or whatever. You could just tell those communities are excited for their game coming back, like we should have been.
And
Uh,
that's the thing. It's not a lack of excitement, man. It's just ineptitude. We got a bunch of inept people trying to run this thing. This operation went to complete shit as a result of ineptitude and horrible decision making and just not listening to people who can actually offer insight, how this could be running a lot more smoothly and successfully.
exactly. And those games went a lot longer than Imagination did. Far more sets. They knew what they were doing, and they know what their fans want. They clearly do. So anyway, apparently, beginning of August, he leaves me this cryptic message. Jen had reached out to me, I guess, when all of this was starting, as far as them negotiating, and she wanted to let me know, I'm they came up with a better offer. I'm interested in it. I think I'm gonna have it looked over real good, and if things work out, I might be doing you guys' card in September. This is fantastic news. I shared it
Yeah,
with
and
you two
good for
guys.
her doing her due diligence, because at this point it's like, yeah, you DYA.
But she later responded. You could tell she was disheartened. And she told me, well, Sun Machine kind of stopped everything. I asked him, he's saying, well, hey, it's been a whirlwind of a month. The cryptic part was I had a few lovely chats with Chana, and I felt we were on a path to figure stuff out. Before a combination of medical stuff cropping up on my family and a bizarre and disturbing events we will be handling, she announced, but pushing our conversation off further. I mean, I get medical stuff, but the
Yeah.
bizarre, disturbing events, we can discuss it a little later. Due to the latter circumstance listed, we're in a bit of a reset mode, and the former limiting my time the past couple of weeks. But the good news is I felt we left off on positive direction, and the bad news is I let Chana we have to pause the discussion for now. We got to redirect resources and ensure the Kickstarter stay on track. I don't know if that's a satisfactory answer, but it's the only one I have for now.
That right there is a big old pile of shit. That's all that is to me.
Guys, I have a feeling our card's dead.
I mean, I've already written it off. As much as I'd love for it to exist, I have not changed my stance on if we don't get it, it's a failed investment. And a failed investment just means that there's no more trust. There's no more chance of anything. Yeah. It's over. And I hate for that to happen because while I might lurk in the server, I love the game. I do a lot of like prototype deck building for weird stuff on my own time at work because I work overnight, so there's a lot of free time to see how things work. And I enjoy using some odd combinations of Magi. In fact, one of my favorite ones to use, who's an oddball because people hate him, is All High King Korg. You know, he runs out of energy, he's gone. It doesn't matter how many creatures he's got. I do enjoy using him, though, because he's kind of scary if he gets going. And I've built a couple of decks with him and the Solo Zet, who's not a great Magi, but still. I don't want to lose the desire for a game that came out when I was just becoming an adult. I don't want to lose that whole, like, I like this game. But the way things are going, the collection itself is turning into more effort than it's worth. If I get cards from the Kickstarter at this point, I get cards from the Kickstarter. If I don't get cards from the Kickstarter, oh well.
And I've lost confidence at this point that we're even going to see those decks. You know, and I'm sitting here thinking, this is all literally.
They're sending it. We're going to get the decks.
I won't believe it until I see it in my mailbox. That's where I'm at. The word means nothing to me. I have no reason to believe that those cards are going to show up until I am holding them in my hands.
I mean, barring an issue, like if there is some sort of, legal issue where, there is a right dispute, that could delay us getting our cards, or it could even, if there's a case that's against us, we could lose. You're right.
They can't even get us one card. This is, I understand that it's like a lot of these complications have less to do with the actual process of getting the cards printed and all of that, the business of making and printing these decks. I'm just like, all I see is ineptitude. Like, who are these clowns? I don't know these guys from a freaking ham sandwich. I don't know who these people are. I'm supposed to trust that they're going to come through with it when they can't even manage to make sure that the art for our card gets commissioned properly and then goes through the process of being printed. They haven't done anything to prove that they know what they are doing. They're a bunch of incompetent fools as far as I'm concerned.
The part that I'm concerned about is if the decks we get are anything like those first run promos, we're not getting a product. We're getting garbage if they're anything like those first run promos, which is, again, a failed investment because those first run promos sicken me.
We'll come back to that. We'll talk about those promos here in a bit. I just want to ask the viewers, would you guys work with DualWorks with what's happened? There should have been huge levels of excitement for this Kickstarter, and this has honestly killed things for the community. So now we're going to go for change of pace, and let's talk about that Kickstarter. Oh, man. Good stuff there. A lot of people had complaints about it. So, Grimnack, did you watch the video?
I have not.
Go ahead and look at the ad video real quick.
Let me turn off push to talk. Hold on.
Dude, I'm going to talk on it because what was it, just over 2 minutes?
All right, I have turned off push to talk, so this will be an unfiltered response.
Oh,
here we go.
Okay, live reaction.
Armory and 2i LLC has allowed me to help launch this Kickstarter for them. We're excited to announce.
Oh my, so monotone.
Duel is returning after 20 years with a new set for our family-friendly game. If you're new to
Doc
this
Tony,
game,
just a stream of the Artemilius promo.
Will still be complex too. Every card has effects or powers to shape the interior.
Again, so monotone.
Oh really? Cards and effects and powers.
Yeah.
Where did the budget go? Where did the ad budget go?
Hundreds of $10 decks. Woohoo!
What does it have to do with the game?
We became good friends. What does that have to do with the Kickstarter? Where's the whole, like, we're reviving the game? Where's the excitement? Oh, God. I don't care about the $10 decks program. I want to know about the Kickstarter. Where's the whole thing that's supposed to make me excited for Trader's Reach and the Return of the Moonlands, other than somebody reading a script in monotone? What the hell? Sorry, Artemilius, this is boring. Straight up. There's no excitement. There's some people sitting at a table every so often playing the game. That's kind of cool. You know what would work better? An overshot of the game itself happening. But this looks like this is straight up like somebody recorded, like has their own video camera and they're just recording this, as opposed to it being a production. And I go back to he's reading a script in monotone. That's the worst part. Is the monotone. That makes me. If it wasn't the fact that I wanted to reach the end of this, I would have stopped watching this within seconds.
It was awful. I made myself watch the whole thing, and I regretted it.
Dude, that's not even what you call a budget commercial. That is what you call, like, I could have recorded this on my cell phone with minimal edits and probably done something better for $5.
No, you could have gone on Fiverr, or somebody else could have easily just done something better. Look at all the great Kickstarter videos that have been out there that you sit there going, oh man, that looks cool. I'd like to play that. Nice graphics that they put in there.
Whoa, nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game.
So a narrator, the kind of exciting,
Magi Nation, past the point of no return.
He brought up the $10 Dex project like 4 times. What does that have to do with the Kickstarter?
Nothing.
What does your friendship with the guy from TY have to do with the Kickstarter? Nothing. Where was the information that's supposed to make me excited for the Kickstarter other than the fact that you're running it? There was nothing in there about the Kickstarter, about Trader's Reach, about the fact that if this goes well, we're going to do another Kickstarter for the next set. Because if there's the whole, like, hey, if this does well, we've got another set that was announced back when this game was live in the beginning, and if this does well, we'll do another one.
Daybreak.
That's how you get people excited. That's how you get people excited. You don't have to have fancy graphics. You don't. You could have literally just had an overshot of a couple of turns of the game talking about the history of Magi Nation, it being revived by a bunch of hardcore fans. Because guess what? That's who the core of the people spending the money are, is the hardcore fans. And the fact that this is a passion project, bring back a game, and the fact that Daybreak has been announced, it's not hard to go, we already have, if this does well, the basis to do another. And if that does well, what's to stop us from doing another, and another, and another?
You took the words out of my mouth on this video, man. You said everything.
Like, this is, I watched this video, and it's like, what the hell am I watching? This is worse than an infomercial. And it was 2 minutes instead of an hour.
I have watched infomercials that were more exciting in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. That made me think, I need to buy that right there. And instead, here, I get this, and I'm like, what is this about? What am I watching?
The worst part about it, and I can't stress this enough, is the fucking monotone. I play RPGs as part of fun. Like, I started out D&D 3.0 because that was about the time I was an adult, and I was able to do what I wanted to do. I don't know how many RPGs I've played. You don't do monotone when you're trying to get people hype. If you're doing monotone, that is going to do the exact opposite. People are going to tune out.
So I asked if they plan to advertise, get to Google and advertise on YouTube and so forth, and ads, because obviously, hey, that would drive. I mean, I'd hope they had a different ad because I saw it and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to advertise this? No.
That ad, I guarantee you, literally turned people away from the project. I guarantee it. 100%, that ad turned people away.
There was no response on advertising, and allegedly the advertising was blown on something else. So, anyway, moving on. So
it had to have been. I don't see how they can go. I understand there's alleged, but what's the excuse? Like, that tells me everything I need to know.
So remember how we said that there was, more work, art that was expected from Channing Goodman? They had the Kickstarter tiers, and for every $50,000, Adam Klurman would create a custom art piece that would be given away to a random backer. And once we hit $50,000, Channing Goodman and Adam were going to work on a piece to be entered to be given away. So Channa obviously was at a stage, good favors at the time, because they offered these stretch goals for her to do. Well, I hope we're getting art from her on that first stretch goal. And then the next stage is, get 50,000, so 100,000, we're going to get another Adam Klurman art, and $150,000, we're going to get another Channa and Adam Klurman art. And then We were going to get another piece from Adam and Jana, but Black Core was going to be unlocked. And they put it in here specifically like this is a slight cosmetic upgrade that will increase the durability of cards and decrease the shine on foils. I will say this. Black Core is an industry standard, and it's improved over the years. Imagination Duel original cards had it from the screenshot. I hated to rip that card. Even Pokemon has it, and Magic the Gathering has it so much so that it's even on their ad and
Was that a
token
statement
cards.
of move values you ripped?
Had to rip one.
You ripped a statement of move values.
Just so you could see the Black Core on it. It's thin, it was early the days of Black Core, but it's present on the card. A misprint, no less.
I know, that's why I was surprised you picked statement of move values.
They view it as a cosmetic upgrade instead of an industry standard.
That's hilarious.
You know, I'm tempted to go find my Magic cards and rip one of the commons just to see if I have.
I got a picture of it.
Oh, that's a Magic token. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was about to rip one of my Tyranid tokens. I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
Nope. It's ripped. It's there. It's an ad card. But yes, that absolutely is something that these cards need because as you could see from the first promos, the quality wasn't great. And the cardboard quality is terrible. And, well, Black Core, hey, it's the backbone of a card. It means something. It will make sure the card lives. I mean, I've had cards that don't have Black Core. They've been in my pocket, get washed, they're ruined. I've had Magic cards go in the washing machine. They don't look great, but they're still holding up. Black Core is a big deal.
There's a reason why they call it a core.
Cosmetic upgrade. Wow. Like, tell me you don't know what you're talking about and what you're doing. Stop telling me you don't know what you're doing and talking about.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first promos that were given out, the card quality was terrible, and they had this gloss on them. It's almost like, what is this? What did they do? Did they just go
Did
on with
they
a
make this on a
buffing machine?
LaserJet printer?
I don't know. Like, who is this printer? I was disappointed when I saw those. So I'm glad someone stepped up and did the Black Core because it would have been a real shame to have gotten the cards that could easily damage or just the slightest treatment and they could be ruined. Yeah, they were saying, oh, we got better card stock. No. We need to have Black Core. That was a big deal.
Yeah, no.
It makes a difference when you're shuffling cards. I mean,
that was what I was going to bring up. Is like if there's no Black Core, you're asking for your cards to get creased just from handling. You're asking for them to get creased.
So moving on. Quick edit after reviewing the Kickstarter page and speaking with a few people on the pin situation. The pins, in fact, are the community pins. 2 years ago, a fan managed to get everything together and have the pins remade. These were remakes. These were slightly different, and they were distributed through the Magi Nation Discord and given over to the Kickstarter through some sort of deal. Are they official now? Nobody knows. Nobody's fully sure. These padded deck carrying cases.
You mean the thing that looks like somebody who's working a blue-collar job should have attached to their pants to hold tools?
That's a satchel.
I don't know if they were camera bags. I don't know if they were some sort of satchel. Let me just put it this way. Who would use these things?
That picture has a brand on the front. So you know what I decided to do? I looked up the brand. You know what the brand is for? Camera bags.
Oh, wow.
Tamrac camera bags.
Dude.
Guys, I'm going to say this, okay? You guys know so much more about the cards and everything that goes into making these things. You guys have been playing these types of games for so long, so I'm going to leave the rest up to you, but there's incompetence across the board. I have no confidence that they are going to execute this. I am with Grimnack. This is a failed investment. I feel that I will be lucky if I open up my mailbox one day and it's like, oh, here are the Magi Nation cards that I've been waiting on. I don't believe we're going to get our card. I don't believe that this is going to be a successful launch. Honestly, at this point, I just think they have squandered the funds because they don't know what they're doing. And they've decided to make this some type of exclusive club that hijacked this whole thing. That's what it looks like from the outside looking in. And I've lost all confidence. The ad was terrible. Fuck the money, man. Money gets blown on dumber things in life. The poor stewardship of this game that means so much to us and to so many other people is what really pisses me off. They're ruining it. They pretty much already ruined it. It makes me sad. We are a generation that we really love our nostalgia, and we attach it to not just the games that we play, but the experiences that we had, man. The day that I beat that Ardarial deck and ended up in the top 10, like, dude, in terms of geek nerd culture, that was the height of it for me, man. And it was so much fun to be able to say, I did that. I bested Space Marine.
They won't let it go.
Never. I will never let you let that down. I will drop that nugget at your funeral. And, it was so much fun, man, going up there. Sunday afternoons, this is what we're doing. We're going to go in there, man. We're going to spend the next few hours playing this game,
The league.
having fun. Dude, man, it was so much fun. And they've robbed us of having that again, being able to relive those good times with this game in particular. And it's an injustice. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Hey, you probably sound like a lot of people at this point with the way they feel up right now. But I get it.
You know what, man?
We've been at this a while.
And if I were the only one that felt like this, and I know thankfully that I'm not with you two, but if we're the only three, then you know what? I don't care, man. I really don't care what other people would say at this point, because they've stolen this from us. Not just the card, just that opportunity to have this back, man. We got screwed the first time around. Now we're getting screwed again. They can have it, man. I'm done.
All right, man. Well, take care. We'll finish this out. All right. So, yeah, camera cases. If you know anything about the industry, nobody in the right mind would have their cards in a pouch like that. There's no protection. There are a multitude of game companies that have produced better card protection or high quality protection to protect your decks, because why? They understand cards cost money. People want to protect their stuff. They want to show off their things. I don't even know how many of these were sold. I would never in my life put my cards in that bag. My tokens for the game? Sure, I'll put them in a bag like that. But I already have something to carry my things. Someone seeing that from the outside, someone was a professional card gamer, to come in and view that bag in our Kickstarter would be a huge red flag and turn off.
I stared at that when I saw the image the first time and went, what?
Well,
That was the only word that came out of my mouth was, what?
well, someone asked 2i about these things. And let me read it. Thanks for your feedback and passion regarding Magi Nation. To be clear, 2i has been involved in every step of the way of this regional relaunch trial. A trial. And everything is approved by 2i. Sherrick, Artemiles, is an endorsed contractor in this equation. We find him to be transparent. And given the economics of this trial, his card shop makes less. Thus, in my opinion, there is no conflict of interest. The hiking gear you mentioned is actually camera cases, which were donated and convenient for storing and carrying decks. What I do know is there exists, and always will, a wide array of options around how to best serve this IP. I too would like to see this game succeed. After all these years, we must take a step at a time and work within the constraints of the budget. Those bags should have never been in the Kickstarter whatsoever.
I don't care if they were a donation.
It just looks bad. It looks tacky. It looks cheap.
They're obviously not designed for cards.
They weren't.
If it was like, this is a thing designed for cards, I'd have been like, all right, cool. It's a thing designed for cards. That is very obviously not, just from looking at them. And then, of course, for them to say it's camera cases, it's like, really? Camera carrying case is designed to protect components for a camera, lenses, digital cameras, et cetera, from impacts. It is not designed to protect cards from being bent.
Or their edges getting worn.
Right.
What else was in the Kickstarter? Metal cards. I don't care. Whatever. It's a cosmetic. Metal maps. Again, I don't care. Playmats. Now, hey, this is something people would want. Something for card games. Why not? I think the playmats was a great idea. Posters. Okay, these are great too. There's a lot of people who wanted posters over the years. Why not? The screensavers. You could get random screensavers, if I remember correctly. A pack of them. Whatever. Weibo dice. Artemiles had made these Weibo dice. He had 3 other Kickstarters with dice. Who cares? And then apparently something about custom Magi sleeves. Are we making sleeves through one of these card sleeve industries? I think you got 5 sleeves for what you paid for, so it's not even a full pack. And the last big thing was a 3D Ormagon that was made by a non-Magi Nation fan. Basically, somebody went on Fiverr and asked him to make a 3D model. There's so much here. I just refer to the Kickstarter. You look for all this stuff for yourself. What do you think about some of this stuff?
The only thing that's here that even I was going, ooh, let me see. Playmats. Hooray. Custom Magi sleeves. Wait, hold on. What does that mean? Is it just sleeves for the Magi?
I think
Is
so.
it like sleeves that have Magi on the back? What does that mean? And like, who's going to make them? Because I know you can go to Dragon Shields with a piece of art and get custom sleeves done that way.
No,
Like,
I think
do you have a deal with Dragon Shields, or are you just talking to some random company that makes sleeves that might not even make standard card size sleeves? Because there's the Yu-Gi-Oh size sleeves out there. So if I get my custom Magi sleeves, are they going to be the right size? Are they going to be more than just penny sleeves, where it's just super thin plastic?
I think you only got 5 sleeves too, so I don't.
5 isn't even like. What am I going to do with 5? I have to buy 3 of those so that I have an even number. Because Magi stacks are 3 with rare exceptions. You might occasionally have 2. You might occasionally have 4. Rare 4 is extremely rare. But there's enough dual Magi out there that you can have like 2 or 3 different 2-sleeve stacks. So what? I can build a regular stack and then a dual Magi stack?
I guess so. But still,
5 is such an arbitrary number.
the problem is there was so much that was added on. Some of it kind of felt tacky.
I kickstarted 2 board games from the same company. And part of the Kickstarter was like, you can, through the Kickstarter, get the upgraded wooden tokens instead of little plastic ones. Almost every single board game, and I've kickstarted more than probably close to a dozen different board games through Kickstarter at this point. Almost all of them had relevant add-ons to the game. There was one that was like, if you didn't kickstart the wooden tokens, here's your chance to buy them. If you want to upgrade this particular part of the game, here's your chance to buy the resin version, so you didn't have to go buy the super high-end one that comes with the resin version of this particular portion of the game. Hey, look, here's the exact number of sleeves you need to sleeve the cards for this game to protect your investment.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on. I argued against preset decks versus booster boxes in a Discord when they were talking about it. Because a lot of people were like, we get the decks, it's like a living card game. We'll get all the cards. But there's negatives to that. Let's say you just buy your one deck and that's it. What then? What are you going to do, for the remaining decks? You're not going to want to buy those. Booster boxes, if you at least have booster boxes, what do? I need to get the rest of the set. I got to buy more boxes. I got to buy more boxes. This community has whales. They will buy a ton of boxes because you know what? They're going to want the set. They're going to want the set in foil and so forth. But a lot of people, they bought their set of decks. They're done. They're happy. They're not buying anything else. They have no need to go buy booster boxes. They have no need to go back and buy more decks.
I mean, that's kind of where we are. We bought 68 decks between the 3 of us.
Yeah, no need.
We paid for the promo. We paid for promos. What else do we have to spend money on?
That's it.
If they'd have been like, hey, we're going to do... The Kickstarter infuriated me so much now that we were talking about it. We're doing decks. If it had been, we're going to reprint decks from old sets as the initial Kickstarter, I'd have been like, all right, cool. It's initial decks from the old sets. They're reprinted. They may have some that have updated art. Include preview cards from Trader's Reach. Just to be like, hey, we're trying to build up funds to be able to give Trader's Reach a real comeback. This doesn't feel like a comeback. This feels like a cash grab.
That's what a lot of people said. It feels like a cash grab. It's like, hey, there's no guarantee that anything else would go forward. These booster boxes, you know what? They'll sell. Preset decks, you get your decks, you walk away, and that's it. And you know what? Someone's going to be left holding the bag with all those decks because there were some people that bought their one deck. That's it. They're happy. They have no need to go back and buy anything else. They got their cards. They only play that one region. I hate to say it, hey, there's a reason that card games go with booster boxes and don't go with preset decks. Go with preset decks, like living card games. Hey, they have their formula. They know what they're doing. But at the end of the day, you don't see the many of those games around anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that ended up killing the spoils. They went to the buy this box, get one copy of every card in the set. You buy 4 of that box, you have 4 copies of every card in the set. You have 4 play sets of every card in the set. I did that. I have the entire set. Do you know, when I was playing Magic hardcore before Hasbro basically imploded the market by flooding it, I bought for Baldur's Gate 2 in order to be able to update my gate deck. The one deck that I enjoyed because it was a 5-color deck that evolved from just play a bunch of multicolored creatures to something completely different. In order to make sure I got all of the gates, not only did I spend $300 buying pre-release kits, which I bought like 50 pre-release kits, by the way. I bought 3 boxes of that set, and I don't know how many boosters. I spent on Baldur's Gate alone more than $1,000 just to be able to update one deck. I updated a lot of my decks because I ended up getting a lot of gates out of it and some other really good cards.
That's the only way to get the cards. Buying booster
Yeah.
boxes.
If we hadn't spent the money for the create a card, which I think was a fairly hefty sum of what we spent, I don't know the exact amount. I'm not going to ask you to tell you how much. We would have spent much less and basically got everything. And then that would have been it. And it's less than what I spent on just Baldur's Gate stuff.
Absolutely. So during the Kickstarter, there was a video that was put out on why this person skipped out on the Magi Nation Kickstarter. I'm going to put it in the description, and I'm going to urge you to go watch it if you hadn't seen it already. It wasn't good publicity. He had some valid points in there. Kind of eye-opening, to be honest, because even I'm like, well, somebody else sees this stuff. There have been a lot of people that were just dissatisfied, wanting a refund. Some people decided, well, I'm not going to wait 2 years for product, and either bailed, didn't even pledge. It's too long, I get they got to print cards, but there are other games that go and produce and get their game done and have it by the next year, and that's a reasonable time frame. But 2 years, that's excessive, and that was a big turnoff for a lot of people.
Development for games that I've seen through Kickstarter, the only development projects that take 2+ years that I've seen for games on Kickstarter are digital games, video games. I kickstarted the Girl Genius game, like straight up kickstarted it. The development cycle was 3 years for that. I have my physical copy of the game. I have my Steam copy of the game. I've kickstarted, as I said, probably a dozen different board games. And fulfillment cycle, this is from beginning to end, is usually about 1.5 years, 2 years, depending on the game. And that's when they say 2 years, we're adding some padding for shipping delays. And most of those games I get within 1 year. So that means, do you not have people dedicated towards getting this done, or are people still working full-time jobs and then doing this on their side hours?
No, this is side hour. There are people working on this on their side hour, so I will admit that. But
if we're investing our money to get this game, I'm hoping they're going to do more than just they've got some people who are actually getting paid to do this, and to a point where they can do it. It doesn't sound like it.
Kickstarter looked bad. There multiple people has basically said it. They're not going to pledge.
The Kickstarter didn't just look bad. I've seen bad Kickstarters. This is one of those Kickstarters that was bad. I was part of a community for a while, and I left that community, by the way, because it went downhill. But they used to head some of the Catalyst Kickstarters. The people who make the current MechWarrior minis. And they do stuff like Shadowrun, things like that. And Shadowrun's still a popular game. And they had one Kickstarter where it looked just like this, where they had complaints everywhere. There was money that was disappearing. Products that were promised were never delivered. So, this is just turning out to be one of those, this is bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, like I said, there were too many people that were like, I'm out. There were a lot of people just trying to convince, like, oh no, come on, we could, anything will help. Like, now they just wouldn't invest their money. If you go back to that time frame, the start of the Kickstarter in the Discord to the end, and you just go in the general channel, you will see people like would saying, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
do it.
some of the stretch goals didn't make sense either. Like I didn't understand what some of them were.
It almost like they needed someone else to really go through and just manage this Kickstarter.
If you're running a Kickstarter, you have to have a dedicated person running the Kickstarter, not someone doing it on their spare time. Somebody who is looking at comments and responding to them, someone who is putting out updates on Kickstarter so that the backers can see it. Because not every backer is going to be checking their Discord every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Someone needed to sit there and actually manage this one. And someone who's done previous Kickstarters and take feedback from the team and the community before all this was launched would have been huge. They, almost hiring like an outside person just to even handle this, because it's like, hey, I don't need to really understand the game 100%. I just need to know what I'm doing and what kind of Kickstarter I'm running. And it would have been easy. It
At
could
the
be.
very least, the person needs to understand the game and how it works, even if they don't have a passion for it.
Exactly. They
Um,
just need to know what they're doing as far as the project kicks, because then they could easily just manage it. There's a difference between knowing the game, or just having the basic standing of the game and then running the Kickstarter, because you know what? It would have been done professionally.
the one thing that I've been sitting on that's not related to the Kickstarter, it's not related to the cards, it's not related to anything else, that makes me realize that DualWorks and 2i are not actually invested in this. Where's my custom Discord invite for getting people into this game? Why don't I have a discord.gg/Magi Nation that I can go, hey, here's my favorite game, check it out? Why do I still have discord-/gg/code? Where's the money being spent? I've at a friend's request, I actually bought GTA 5 on the cheap on Steam in order to try the roleplay servers, which is a mod specifically for going, you know what? We're going to do GTA, but instead of like the story for it, we're going to have centralized cities where everything is run by players. I have been part of 2 of them. These are fan made. They might make a little bit of money for like people who pay subscription fees. Both of them on fan projects have custom Discord invites. Discord.gg/insert server name. Why don't we have that for Magi Nation? If 2i is supposed to be invested, if DualWorks is supposed to be invested, where's my custom link for me to be able to go, I am proud of this game?
We did have something that was the community made. We made business cards to finally hand out. The problem is the business cards all went to Artemiles and went for the decks. So at least we could spread the word. If people bought the decks, they'd have the business card to be able to spread it. But
Whoop-de.
beyond that, that's all we
Whoop-de-doo.
were able to get done.
Whoop-de-doo.
And that was just fans that did that. We went together and helped. And I even assisted in that process.
Yeah. But still, to me, that's nothing. People then have to spend the money to do it. If you want Discord to be the primary hub for people to come in, we need that custom link. We need it is a thing. Every single Discord that I'm on that is part of a business or a fandom or anything else. Hell, I read fan fiction for fun. I'm on a fan fiction server. Did you know the fan fiction server I'm on has more boosts than Magi Nation's server? Magi Nation's server has the minimum to make it a level 2 server, which is 7 boosts. The fan fiction server I'm on has 10, which means the fan fiction server I'm on is closer to having a custom invite than Magi Nation is. And Magi Nation is supposed to be a community where we want people to join, whereas this fan fiction one is all about, guess what, a single fandom for a group of tight-knit people.
Yeah, and those are the fans that got those boosts, and they held them on for years. So let's move on.
Sorry, it was something that was bothering me because I'm like, this goes to show mismanagement. Same thing with the Kickstarter.
So now we're going to go to the whole discussion about the printer that was used. So apparently, 2i still had context for the old printer that they used 20 years ago. And Artemili just decided, well, we're going to go ahead and contact them and use them. but you guys didn't think about maybe trying to contact other printers and shop around and get quotes and prices and see time frames, turnarounds, see how much it would be for each different printer to sit and go, and how much would it be for this printing this kind of material, how many cards can I get printed on a sheet, and so forth. No, we just used who was the first ones that we had. And
yeah, well, again, it goes back to who's doing this on their spare time between work and family responsibilities and everything else, and them not having a dedicated person who's being paid to do this. Sure, Artemiles might get a small percentage to do this, but his money's not coming in from the Kickstarter. His money's not coming in from that. His money's coming in from whatever else he does for a living.
Yeah, exactly. And even if they would have, had a dedicated person to pay or do something like that, I'm pretty sure that we have so many active and willing members, they would have, said, hey, I'll take the time and contact. Or, that could have been done, easily gotten multiple quotes. Because let's just say we spent on a deck. Let's just say it costs, I don't know, $5 to make the deck. But we could have turned around and found a printer that would have said, I'll do it for $350, Or booster boxes, let's say, I don't know, they're $25 a box. But we could have found someone that could have done it for half the cost or $15. And that could have stretched out the money a long way. And there's so many games that are made, and so many Kickstarter games, and games that are made through other means and other websites, privately or whatever, funded in different manners, that hey, they have their option to go and make their cards and print it. So there's options out there. It's just we just went with the first one.
Without even, from what it seems like, without even a quality check. Because those promos, again, I've said it before, I'll say it again, those promos sicken me.
Yeah, that was our quality check. Woohoo. All right, so now we're really going to get into something I'm looking forward to. Let's talk about that Naroom card sheet. So, so this...
As somebody who started out as a Naroom player, this sheet...
So, they're going to make a sheet for each one of the decks. And I get that there's someone who has to take the time, fit the cards onto the sheet, restore some of the frames that need to be done. You just get everything together. There's going to have to make some of the new cards that they're going to be going in the deck. Like, for example, the new Universal Raji has to be put together, put onto the sheet, and so forth. And they're going to take this whole 50-card sheet and make the 43-card deck that they've already tested on the Discord, these pre-constructed decks. But there's 7 cards left open. And of the 7 cards, they have 6 rule cards, which are front and back. And my absolute favorite, I don't know who thought this was a great idea, but a dual-backed card. Why?
I get that these decks were play tested, right?
Yeah.
7 slots. 7 slots. Do you know what I would have done with 7 slots?
What would you have done?
I would have included another Magi, another Relic, another Spell, and 2 more creatures. And been like, hey, have a sideboard so that your deck isn't the same every time you play it. Have something to be able to mix it up. Sure, in the end, if you want to, you can just throw the extra creatures, the extra Relic, and the extra Spell into the deck and play more than 40. The extra Magi is the one that allows you to be able to go, all right, cool, let's mix it up a little so it's not always the same thing. It then makes it into, guess what, more than viable for a living game. Because if we sit down and we play Trader's Reach cards, and I sit down with the Naroom deck, everybody's going to know what my Naroom deck looks like from beginning to end. There's no surprises. There's no chance for me to be able to switch it up.
Absolutely. And that's the big problem. And not even all the cards in the Trader's Reach decks are good, because they introduced the Skulk cycle. So basically, the Skulk cards are creatures that are only good against creatures of the same region. So in order for it to be good, you have to have another Naroom deck and play this card just to do anything. And it's useless. It's a bland
It's a
creature.
dead card.
Yeah, it's a deck card. And having the rules, we'll get into that in a minute. But the double back card, that's a huge waste of money. I mean,
I love your idea, by the way.
So you could have, like you said, we could have added 6 new cards into the deck. And my idea was, well, they were already talking about doing the booster boxes, 3 regions, 50 cards, including the Trader's Reach cards, where they can make a standard format. A new standard format so the game could start from this point going forward, and if more projects, they can build on the standard and create the game. Well, fine, I get it. You want to do that? I'm okay with it. That's fine. But you could have added 6 unique cards, like you said, a Magi, a Relic, a Spell, a couple creatures. Even fill in for some of the Trader's Reach cards that are one of if you want to, and add those 6 cards to the standard format and make them unique to the decks. Why? Because when you go and you buy the deck, you get these 6 unique cards that you can't get in the booster packs. Well, you're going to want to buy the decks.
Want to know what was one of my favorite things about Magic for a while? Do you remember how they used to have different levels of starter decks? They had basic and then all the way up to pro.
Yeah.
Where the pro level deck was basically like 40 set cards, and then they included 30 random cards for you to build a deck out of.
Yeah, or there's even those decks that they were tournament winners. They weren't official cards, but you could play with those tournament winning decks. They weren't official.
No, what I was talking about is like
I know what you mean.
The pro level deck cards. It was like, buy this so you can play a sealed deck. Just buy this one box and you play sealed deck.
Yeah.
And that would have given it a similar option to sealed deck without having to worry about wasting space and not sure, those 5-6 cards that I was talking about would have been like cookie cutter. Everyone would have known those are the extra cards. But it would have been, oh, look, I'm not playing in the room deck. Let's pull the Skulk creature out and put something in that can actually be used.
Exactly. The deck won't have to play the same every time. And, now you threw in 6 cards that people weren't expecting from the deck, initially. And it's like, oh, look, hey, that's giving back to the community. And we don't need rules cards. The original game had little rule booklets. Fine, you want to spend the money on rule books, fine. Go on arcanusarmory.com. Well, obviously, he's the one hosting the game. Put the rules there. You have a QR code card. Just have that where it directs us to the website. And then on the other side of the card, give us the phases and steps. I don't know. Throw an Animite token on there and then call it a day. And then to throw us a double back card, that's a blatant waste of money. That's a waste.
That is literally a slap in the face.
And just stop and think about this. So think about it. We're going to get 7 cards in each of the 13 decks. So if you were to buy all 13 decks, you're going to have 91 rules back-to-back cards out of the deck. Huge waste. Nobody needs that many rules at all. You don't need those rules. You want cards. If they were to change course right now, then the room deck is shot. They already said it for printing. 7 cards wasted. If they take the remaining 12 decks, 1 card to refer you to the website to have the rules, we're 19 cards. You only lose out on 19 cards for buying all 13 decks. You spend $150 and you only have 19 cards wasted. In our situation, we bought 68 decks. If they stick with that 7 card per deck, we're losing out on 476 cards. I don't even want to know how many cards some other people have lost out, because I know some people that bought foil decks. So it's going to look real great having all of these wasted cards. Let's just say they change course now. 19 cards wasted. The room deck is shot. They do 1 insert card in every single one of those 50 card sheets. They put the rules online. With the 68 decks we bought, we're only going to lose 98 cards.
Even Magic has like, hey, look, download our rules compendium. The game is so complex. It's literally just a rules fucking document that you have to look up for each little thing.
And most games have quick start rules. Their rules are online anyway. Why are we making rule cards? We don't need that. If you want to make printable rule cards, you go on the website, you can download this, print it, and make your own. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But no, we want to make sure we have a spot where we go, here, let me go on the website. Let me look this rule up. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody has access to the internet pretty much. It ain't that hard. If you need a physical copy of the rule, just download it and print it. This is a huge waste. I feel bad for all of us in this Kickstarter. It's like, this is a huge sign of mismanagement right here. No one thought about the numbers that this would produce or what the people are going to get. And let's not forget, they're going to foil one side of these sheets. So what's going to happen? And they've confirmed themselves. Yeah, we're going to have one side foil, half foil rule cards. We're going to have a double back card with one side foil and one side not. We're going to look like the stepchildren of the TCG community.
The crazy stepchildren of the TCG community.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys have a full back card? Who does that? Magic only. The only card game I know that has foil front and back is Magic because they have two-sided cards. They've never foiled the back of a card. And then rules, I'm going to look at my rules. If I bought a full deck, I'm going to look at non-foil side and foil side. That's odd. It doesn't make sense. Oh, well, maybe they'll flip it. The rule sheets on cards on the future, so then the other side can be full. Why? Why? I will say this now. I put my Discord name, I put my email. If they continue this way, and you get a foil back card, contact me. I want 43 of those because I want to put a foil card on one side and I'll put the foil back card on the other side. So I'll put two cards in the sleeve. I'll put it in a clear sleeve so that way I can play a full foil deck. So that way I can really show our stepchildness to the TCG community.
My deck's so special, it's double foiled.
It's so special. It's so special.
It's double foiled. Look at how shiny it is.
Look at my back, so shiny. I'm telling you, dude.
I gotta worry about crows stealing my deck. Why? Because both sides are shiny.
It's too shiny, man. It's too. Hey,
The magpies.
contact me, and nobody come steal my till I get my 43 first. I gotta do it, man. I gotta do it. Hey, I collect misprints from the game. I have a full misprint deck. I'm proud of that deck. I'm working on a second one. But man,
That's the whole reason why I was surprised you tore a statement of move values. For the record, it's a move card that has the art for the statement of core values for those who haven't figured out what I'm talking about.
This is legitimate misprint, but I will say this, man. I cannot pass up on this opportunity. This is gold. Let me tell you about this deck, guys. I'll tell people the story about the deck. They printed a double card, man. Look at it. It's got foil on one side. Who does that?
It's so stupid. There's no other word for it.
I'm telling you, man. Like I said, they could easily just go in there, add some cards. They hadn't planned on it. Who cares if they adds time? Like, oh man, we have to go back and fix. I don't know what's next called. We'll throw in now. We can throw in like I don't know, Barrett the Red and and this and this and this, and then just we can really make we can make those decks a little better and give back.
It would cost some extra money, but like
no, it don't cost them. It don't cost them anything. You know why it don't cost me?
Hold on. I was gonna say it costs
Volunteer.
extra money, but it'd be great to be able to take these decks, take those wasted slots, and like even if it was just like fan art, like this fan made this piece of art for this particular character we really like, you'd be like, hey, we'll pay you, $100 to let us use this for the deck printing. It'll cost a little money, but I got a Barrack the Red that's got custom art that only came in the Kickstarter deck.
Exactly. And then people would actually, some of the people like, whoa, these decks have these unique cards. You can't get them out of the booster packs. People are going to want to buy 3 because if you only put 1 copy of it, let's just say you throw something like Bungaloo in the deck. You're like, oh man, or Furrock. Oh, I got to get my Furrock. It's not in the booster box, but it's in this deck.
I mean, that's a chance to put a blue Furrock in the.
Well, we can't do that because we don't know about rights. Can't probably go blue Furrock. But what I'm saying is they throw something in there that's good. Like, I don't know, Forest Iron. Hey, you could only get Forest Iron in a deck. What do you got to do? You got to buy the decks. You throw in
I love
Iron.
Forest Iron. I have murdered people with a Forest Iron trio before. It's like, all right, I'm going to play Forest Iron. Oh, great.
It's not even
I'm
that.
play Forest Iron. Oh, great. I'm going to play another Forest Iron. And I've watched people's faces just, like, watch their hearts just crumble because I play 3 Forest Irons. And if it's a guaranteed way for people to get Forest Iron, which is a sought-after card for Naroom, guess what? People who want 3 Forest Irons who don't have them will probably buy 3 copies of the deck just to get them.
Or like, for example, you throw in Night Hiren in the Ardariel deck if it's not already in there. You throw in Night Hiren, what's people going to do? Man, I got to get a deck. I got to have a place in a Night Hiren. I got to buy 3 decks. That's going to sell the decks. But not doing that, they're not going to sell the decks. They're just like I said, I got my 1 deck. I'm good. There's no incentive to buy future decks. And it's an idea. Will they accept this idea? Will they consider it? I don't know. I can't speak for them. All I'm saying is I feel like a watchdog group. They have those government watchdog groups. This is waste of our tax dollars. Well, this is waste of our Kickstarter dollars right here. I'll urge everyone, hey, speak up. Give that feedback. Make your voice heard. If you're given constructive criticism, continue it. Because obviously, they say they want it. They say they've been asking for it. Yeah, I know a lot of people said they've been given it and they've just not been heard. And you know what? Hey, we're making it to where we're heard.
And we did say a lot of things that were mean. And part of that is because we're coming at this from a position of anger, at least for me. But honestly, the whole reason I'm even doing this, because I didn't want to do this, is because it needs to be said. If it's not said, no changes come. There's no way to know where they messed up and fixed it if nobody says anything.
You're right, and I'm glad we're saying something, or at least going with this breath. We only got a couple more slides. We're almost done with this. So there's a few more things. So, the Fez asked a few questions. The first question is, most local game stores, they only purchase through distributors. They have distributor contracts, they have accounts with them, and, that's how they do business. And purchasing from a single vendor, that's not something a lot are going to do. You're going to have very few stores that are going to sit there and go, I have, an extra capital on the side. I'll buy the box here and there. But you're not going to get much of that. It's going to be difficult to carry. And we got the response. Are you planning on contacting major distributors? The response, not at this time. Distributor agreements are predatory to small to low, mid-sized games. If we can run a 1 to 2 million in the future, then they become more possible. However, once this hits the market, we can reevaluate since the game stores would take higher than if it came through a distributor. Well, let me just put it this way. If the Kickstarter would have been done right, if we would have had advertising on YouTube, if we would have had done conventions and got the word out there that we're back more than just staying in the Discord and possibly the Facebook group, we could have easily hit that 2 million mark.
Again, where's my discord.gg/Magi Nation? Where's my ability to just tell somebody, here's how you get to my game?
And the crazy thing is, too, do you know how many times we'll have a random person, you guys are still alive? I loved this game. They didn't know we were still existing. They didn't know the game was still around. Who knows how many people we missed out for not advertising or putting that out there. No store's going to know this game exists because it's only being sold by one person.
Do you know I went to Collecticon we went to a couple years ago?
Yeah.
There was a game there that I ended up opting not to kickstart because it threw up some of the same red flags during their Kickstarter that the Magi Nation Kickstarter threw up, that I chose to ignore because I love Magi Nation. They had some product there for these are test prints of our cards, and the game seemed really interesting. There were a few play problems. The more I looked into the game itself, the more I played it, the more I looked into their Kickstarter model, the less I was I don't want to invest in this because this looks like it's not going to do well. But they were at a con. They had good advertising. They made more on their Kickstarter than Magi Nation did. And we have whales.
I went to a convention. Randomly came across this game. These guys, they're not going to Kickstarter. No, they're not going to do it. They don't feel it. They need to. But they had such a great layout. They had a whole bunch of unique treatments. They were doing it themselves. The game was Soul Masters. The cards were beautiful. They had a whole bunch of different products that you could sit there and buy as far as collector items go. The way they discussed that game and what they wanted to do and how they wanted to treat the players and the things that players want, like collectability, special unique treatments, ease of access if you just want to get the cards. If you want to bling your deck out, this is the way to do it. These guys, they sold me. They didn't Kickstarter or nothing. But you know what? Their game is growing. And the community is on fire. And there's a lot of people that are just interested. And here we are with our Kickstarter on an established game that I know there's no excitement. There's a lot of disappointment, sadness, and almost even now regret for some people probably at this point.
They even have their own website. And the art looks amazing.
The other question was, can elaborate the schedule of printing, so at least we have an idea of what they're talking about doing as far as the printing goes. We want to find out if we even have time to even get our promo done, but this is before we even kind of determine, our card is dead. And even asked, are there any plans for special card treatments? And they're like, no, no promises at this time. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, come on, dude. That adds chase. That's how people would sit there and I gotta have that special full art foil Evu. I gotta have it. I gotta bling out my deck. You get these big whales. They're big time players like myself. Hey, shoot, let me buy multiple boxes so I can get that.
That reminds me of I can't remember the name of the rare, but the chase rare from the Kamigawa the print a few years ago.
Oh yeah,
That one guy had like several different, like the flame is a different color, and the one that was printed red was the chase rare because it was so hard to get. That was like $2,500 versus the rest of them were like 100, 50, 25, 10. This one was like, look, this particular printing of a card that has one detail of a different color is worth way more than the rest because it's so hard to get.
exactly. It's not even just have something. A simple full art card that gets thrown in randomly. Of course, people are going to sit there and chase that. I mean, come on, Matt. The community, they chased foils. Like Hiron foil? Oh, that's something every fan wants. I got to have my full tunnel Hiron. How sought after a full tunnel Hiron is? And I'm not even mentioning, the Magi or things that people want. But a full art Hiron or a full art Magi, throw in like 5 in the entire set. Oh yeah, you mean like I said, you'd have big time players that would be just opening boxes, videos of looking for that card. If they get it, the excitement, oh my gosh, I got it on video. You gotta see it. It would drive people to, hey, that's cool. I want to get on this. Missed opportunity. It's a missed opportunity. Not thinking like a card gamer.
That should be the catchphrase of this video: is missed opportunity.
All right, well, moving on. Last couple slides here. The last major topic I want to sit there and talk about, honestly, the lack of morale that's hit a lot of people. I'm going to say this on a personal note. These other two guys, they're not in the same level I am. They haven't talked to as many people as I have. I could see it. And there are people who reached out to me privately. Me, Yellowspacemarine. Before I left, while I was still there, after I left, there's some that either just tuned out, like, hey, I got other stuff going on, I'll just wait for the cards maybe, and that's it, or I'm just gonna get my deck and that's it. A lot of people lost confidence in the project at various stages, and they just felt ignored. There are people that they said, "Ah, man, I some comments, some suggestions, and I was blown off, or I was ignored, or they just didn't care." And take it as much as you want. All I gotta say is, it's there. It is honestly there. And if you don't see how quiet that Discord is, I can tell. I'm not even there. It's got to be extremely quiet. I can tell probably people have left. There's got to be massive dissatisfaction. And if you expect that when the decks finally come out and these booster boxes come out, that sales are going to come out and people are going to be buying this, we're not. They're just not. If they think another project's going to go off the ground, I doubt it. This Trader Reach is going to come out and the game is dead. Because a lot of the goodwill is gone. A lot of the voices, people are just can't please everybody. You honestly can't. But at the same time, when people are feeling ignored, when things are being mishandled, mismanaged, well, people don't have time for that. They'll move on. They'll go do something else. There's plenty of other games and other things to enjoy and not have to worry about something that, well, they don't listen. And people are going to vote with their wallets. And you see it all the time. And I'm gonna say right now, like they get their stuff. Are they gonna see them back to buy more? Absolutely not. You know what?
Yeah.
You got to understand the mentality. We waited 20 years. Oh well, we'll wait 20 more.
I've brought Magic up a lot because it's one of the big games that almost everybody knows about, and I've spent way more money on Magic, as evidenced by just Baldur's Gate, than I have on Magi Nation. It only takes one bad decision to kill a game because product release for Magic is so fast, you can't keep up with it. I'm not going to subject my wallet to that. At this point, Magi Nation is one of those, I've already put the dent in my wallet, and unless something drastically changes, that's the last dent in my wallet this game gets. I don't know how many people who are listening to this have anything to do with tabletop RPGs. Hasbro, by forcing Wizards to try and get rid of the open game license for D&D, nearly killed one of the most popular IPs in the world with one decision. The community fell apart. There's nowhere near as many people who talk about D&D anymore as there used to be.
And the backlash was huge on that. Just that one decision.
They almost buried one of the most well-known gaming IPs with one decision. This is a chain of decisions for a tiny little IP in the corner of the internet.
Yeah, honestly, they made a recent announcement, which was something we briefly discussed when we were talking about the negotiations for China had kind of ceased, was them announcing their Slacker getting hacked and this GPS tracker issue being out there. I'm just basically going to say this. That was a bad move discussing that and putting it out there to the community that honestly, already a lot of people are on thin ice with what's going on. And to see that this is going on in addition to it, along with, hey, some people know Space Marine's gone. He's quiet. He has this issue. Well, hey, I'm putting it out there. And now that we have all of this going on, what's really going on? A lot of people are now going to just be like, do I really want to keep going with this? The deck sheet looks bad. The Kickstarter was handled bad. You have an artist that isn't being treated well. Who knows how many other artists aren't being treated well? Apparently, there's some sort of side community which is trying to move in or whatever. What's really going on? What do I want to deal with this? I've never heard of a game go through this kind of stuff in such a short time. This is ridiculous. And the worst part about it is we have leaders that you can clearly see they don't have a good understanding of the industry, of the card game industry, what a card gamer wants, what a card game needs, what to push forward. I was excited when DuelWorks went and got Deimos on the team because I know this guy knows the game. This guy has the cards. I've worked with him. We were doing our own personal card. He showed me, like, hey, this frame, the Paradigm frame, it's not great because there wasn't a good quality one of it. And he understood that. And he did this frame breaks. And he knew so much. And I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest. I contacted him. He's on the team somewhat. But it's like, he's the only one I feel like knows anything. The rest, I don't feel like they know anything about this. Yeah, they're volunteers. They may have good intentions, but do you really know what people want? What this game should have? What to make this game succeed? I don't feel like they do. I'm just going to say, in conclusion, like Fez said, we spent many years dreaming of this game's return. And honestly, we didn't plan on ever doing a video like this. Honestly, we talked about for years about doing a big time video. We did our card collection video, which got like 600 something views. I never expected to get that far. Now that we have a complete collection, we spent 20 years hunting cards and our collection is complete. And I would love to do another video updated showing, just about everything with the game. But now, no, we have to sit there and put something out like this. We want to tell our story. We want to make our opinions known. If they're asking for feedback, well, we're going to give them the feedback this way. We didn't want to have something negative. We wanted to have something positive, but we can't. And honestly, everything was just poorly handled to this point. You could just see it. There aren't a lot of people who are happy about this. There are a few that are, hey, they don't know of the background things that are going on. And they're excited to have the course. I don't want to take that away from them. That's something I'd love for everybody to have. But at the same time, we just had to bring up these issues. Those that are aware know I didn't leave for no reason. I left for a reason. Oh, do I want to return? Absolutely. I would love to return. I would love for everybody to be part of the community. I'd love for Channing Goodman to be doing something she wants to be part of. I'd love for this to be the best chance the game coming back. I'd love to be better than when we had. I'd love to be able to do more than 5 sets. I'd like for us to, if we get to a point where, 6, 7 sets before finally, hey, we can't keep it going anymore. Then you know what? We did.
We're out of ideas. The story's been told.
Yeah. So we just hope that this video has a positive change for the direction that the game is going, because it's not going very positively. The future looks bleak for the game.
I'm not counting on it going anywhere personally.
And like our friend the Fez said, he's already checked out. He gets his cards, great. He's cool. Whatever. And the same other people, they get their cards, oh great. Cool. But will you see a lot more out of it? No. That's not how this should have been. There's no way. The fire is just it's dwindled. I don't see it. Something's got to drastically change to reignite this flame to move forward. If DuelWorks or 2i or Artemis doesn't make any sort of major change to make this about the game and really make this happen and really stop and think, well, maybe I'm not the right person for this, or you know what, maybe something else has got to change. We need to rethink our strategy. We need to bring in some more help. I don't know. You guys got to do something. You got anything else?
Nope. I've said my piece.
I just want to thank everybody for listening. We're going to continue to terrorize the Moonlands with our background characters. And there we are. That's the Troublesome Trio. We're out.
Bye.
Peace out.